All right, any given Sunday sports special. This is Jesus. We got Anthony once again, as usual. Steve is missing, MIA. What's new? But we are gonna hold it down like we continue to do. Anthony, what's good, homie?
Not much. Another day in the valley, and I see we both got on matching Giants hats.
That's how we do, man. Go
That's
G
how we
man. They
do.
took care of them boys. How about them
Absolutely.
Cowboys? How about
11
them
and,
Cowboys?
11 and Giants. 11 and Giants.
I like it. I like it. Let's get right to it. Let's recap the last week's games. We're just going to recap the playoff games for everyone. So let's start off with the GOAT Engines versus the Empire. Anthony, my man, what you got?
I expected a lot more of the Empire, but we said before last week that the most important thing is that they need to start from a really, really good foot. And unfortunately, they did not. They only got two from Cooper, one from Jimmy Graham, four from Mike Evans, and they got a negative one from Des Bryant, and that absolutely positively hurts. We always said from the very beginning, he has these wide receivers. You're going to try to go for depth, try to find a running back. There was nothing there. I believe Theo Riddick got hurt, had to swap him out, put in Tim Hightower, can only get three from him. You're expecting a better game from Andrew Luck, he only gets you 20. Now, that being said, on the opposite side, Luck gives you 20 on for the McCoon handlers. Ben gives you two, Freeman gives you one, Benjamin gives you one, and you somehow win?
Hmm.
Yeah, it was one of those weeks. Travis Kelce's been performing great the past 3 weeks. A really big game, 25 points from Carlos Hyde, and another big game from Latavius Murray. His kicker only got him one. He has three guys in single digits. Now, on the opposite side, well, no, let me see. One, two, three, four, five, six guys, single digits. Opposite side, one, two, three, four, five, six guys with single digits. But having your number one wide receiver give you a negative one is absolutely positively murder on your season. And I think they can make a comeback. You got to just kind of see how the games play.
Yeah.
But it was a terrible game kind of all the way around. But with games like that, you just need that one person to step up for this week from McCoon handlers. It was absolutely Carlos Hyde with a terrific game, a lot of yardage, did great all across the board. The Empire's in trouble, not out of it, but we're going to see how they handle it this week. But how do you feel about this game?
I feel this game wasn't as high score as I expected, but as far as the overall final score went just about as I said it was going to happen. I said Rich was going to win the game. I said that Steve's team concerned me. I said that his running backs were going to not be good for him. I said his receivers needed to carry him. I wasn't sure. The only thing I was really wrong about was Mike Evans. I thought Mike Evans was going to explode, and
Yeah,
Mike Evans did absolutely nothing. I mean, it wasn't all his fault. I mean, he has to have somebody throw him the ball. But yeah, that did not happen. I told you guys Amari Cooper was going to struggle. I said it specifically on the show, and Steve refuses to listen to me. I told him he should have benched Amari Cooper and put in Demarius Thomas. He decided not to do that. That is huge because that is a 10-point swing, which then has Steve in the lead by 1 point. And that to me, it bothers me that he did not do that. On the other side for Rich, yeah.
yeah, it's not disruptive. It's just the fact that when you look at the roster makeup of his team, it's you have a ton of wide receivers and you have three defenses. And I understand the Vikings versus Jacksonville was a great matchup, and this Steelers versus Buffalo was probably okay. But you're absolutely right about the wide receivers. Well, and going back to that, sometimes you got to go with the best matchup possible. Against Tennessee, I understand they aren't great, but having Denver's QB back, and before he went out, he had a 300 plus yard game. You kind of expect the same thing, especially with the weak running attack that Denver has right now. Like I said, they lost 10-13, but Thomas got 12 out of that game.
Yeah,
So you know
see,
they were airing
he
the
had
ball out a lot.
120 plus yards and like 10 receptions. So
Yes,
I mean
like
that just made no sense to me. But
Simeon
again,
will
that's Steve.
absolutely go to him. Simeon will go to him every single time. It was basically the Thomas and the Sanders show. That's it. They
Yeah,
had no running attack. Nothing else was going on. Just like the week before he got hurt, they aired the ball out because they could not run the ball. You got to expect to put him in the lineup because you know that it's a good matchup when they're on the field together. And I know they're playing the Patriots, and I know that they've had an up and down time on defense this year, but you still got to play those guys. Now you got to see how the other matchups work out, but that really was a bad move not starting Thomas. But we're going to see how that guy handled it this week. But I interrupted you.
oh, no, it's all
You're
right.
going.
It's all right. So yeah, I mean, this is something where I said it at the trade deadline. Steve needed to trade for a running back. Steve could have had himself a running back. Steve could have traded Des Bryant for LaShawn McCoy. I'm telling you right now, Steve, it would have taken some finagling. It would have taken some, letting Anthony know that it's a fair deal, selling, basically some salesmanship, but it would have gotten done. And you did not do that. And you tell me right now, if you did not have Des Bryant, and you would have done that trade with LaShawn McCoy, you put LaShawn McCoy where you had Tim Hightower. He way outscores him. Then you would have had Demaryius Thomas where Amari Cooper was at. I'm sorry, where Des Bryant was at. He would have outscored him too. So you're winning by almost 20 points in this game if you would have done that trade. But on the other side, with Rich, I mean, listen, if you can still somehow have your quarterback and your quarterback and your number one running back give you a combined 3 points. I'm sorry, your number one running back, your number one receiver, and your quarterback give you a combined 4 points, and you still up by 9 points, you'll take that every day. You'll take that every single day. And that's exactly what happened here. Props to you, Rich. It's ugly. It's an ugly win. But when you're in the playoffs, it doesn't matter how you win. Especially when you face a team from the West, all those games are always ugly. That's what happens. So props to you, Rich. You did your thing. We're going to go ahead. We're going to go over the next week in a minute. But first, we have to go over our game, Anthony, which was, it wasn't a barn burner, that's for sure. But it was a grinded out type of game. What you got on this?
They're always tight. They've been tight like that all season. And there's no such thing as a moral victory. Either you win or you lose. But in this instance, you got to kind of hand it off and give props to the Powers because they came in and it would have been a very good matchup. Melvin Gordon gets hurt early, and that's really a big weapon in this lineup, and it goes out. And then once you're watching the game, Phillip Rivers is just not himself without that pass and run balance. It's just not there. And after that point, Carolina knew what was coming. You're going to air the ball out. We don't trust any of your other running backs. So he did not have a great game. Antonio Brown had an average game for his behalf. Odell Beckham didn't really do much, but that one big running touchdown is all you really needed from him. A really great game from Jeremy Hill. Fat Rob has been killing me all season. He puts up another 14 points. Now, that's a good job. On my side, my team, I don't feel did as great as it should. They did not live up to their full potential, but they did just enough to win it out. We won the kicking matchup and the defensive matchup. The flex between Murray and Kelly, it all evened out. Same thing with McCoy and Jeremy Hill. McCoy only had 4 points less at 16. Hill has 20. Great, no problem. Having Jordy Nelson show up again, 2 big touchdowns. He's their main red zone target as of right now. David Johnson didn't have your particular spectacular David Johnson game, but he still gets you 12. And, you were expecting at least that from Gordon or probably more. But that injury is one that really set them back. Jameis Winston did not have a great game. That affected him. That affected the other matchup with Mike Evans because that's the connection between those two guys, and it just wasn't there. We did just enough to win. And the most important thing that this week mattered to me because I knew I had better matchups the following week. The most important thing was that if I lose, don't lose by a lot. If I win, just make sure you're comfortably ahead. And I don't feel that I'm comfortably ahead. There was a substitution at the last minute for Jordan Reed for Tyler Eifert. Eifert gets 16. That would absolutely help. And then you figure that Rivers has a better matchup. The Baltimore defense is excellent. You figure Tom Brady would not have a good day. He puts up 31. These kind of things happen. But in the end, just as all the matches between the Powers and the vibe have been all season, it's always clinching. It's always tight. So even if next week it shows me winning by a really favorable amount, these games really don't work that way. We put the matchups in, we put our teams in, and then we go ahead and figure it out from there. But in reality, it's going to be another tight game next week, and it's going to be interesting. Now, since you are on the opposite end of this, what were your thoughts on this game?
I mean, my thoughts are pretty simple, pretty clear. It came down to that Melvin Gordon injury. That was, when you want to talk about the absolute positive worst timing of an injury, if it happens the prior week, at least it gives the Powers time to prepare. But the fact that it happened so in the playoffs, the first game of the playoffs, to add insult to injury is it's not like it happened, say in the third, fourth quarter when, he already put up his points. No, it happened early in the game, which he had already had a donut. Then that goes and then that affects Phillip Rivers. They didn't game plan for Phillip Rivers to not have his running back because what people forget is Phillip Rivers' numbers, he likes to dump off to the running back if everything is covered in the wideouts and the tight ends. That's a huge part of the Chargers offense. He did not have that, and that's why he struggled. Do I think it's going to be a little bit easier now because he can prepare? He's going to go ahead. He's going to prep for everything. Yes, I absolutely do. But with that being said, that killed me. Because if I would have known that Melvin Gordon was going to get hurt, first of all, I don't put Melvin Gordon in the game. But most importantly, Phillip Rivers isn't playing there because I already know he's not going to be able to adjust to it.
Very true.
You know, the Tom Brady, I don't think that is a bad coaching move because Tom Brady was going against the number one scoring defense in the league. Number one scoring defense in the league. So yes, absolutely, I was not going to play him. That's not a bad coaching move. If you look just up and down, that was almost a flawless coaching game by me. I couldn't have coached the game any better. I'm not going to bench Antonio Brown for Sammy Watkins.
I was in no way, shape, or form saying
No, not you. No. This is by. I know you're not calling me out by no means.
Oh, no. That's because it's not. It's not like I said when they showed the statistic on ESPN last night.
Yeah.
The Baltimore defense ranks number 1 in 5 defensive categories. Five. Not just scoring defense. It's against the run. It's DVO. They're one of the best defenses in the league. Period.
Yes.
And you figure you lose Gronkowski. You're not certain what you're going to have with Malcolm Mitchell. You're not certain to have with Chris Hogan. You know you can depend on LeGarrette Blount. Let's go ahead and run the ball with him. We're going to see what we have going on with Julian Edelman. Right. So you're expecting them to win, but it to be tight, not to come out in the way that it did. So it was a terrific job by you. But like I said, those things happen.
It happens. Yeah, that stuff happens. You know, and you know, and I know you always say that you know, oh, you got to be careful with the jinxes. But you know, it's just at the end of the day, the one thing that I have to give your guys props, Anthony, is your guys all season have pretty much stood on their feet. They stayed right. They've stayed healthy, and you know what? That's very important to fantasy, and that's props to you when you're drafting. Because a lot of times what people tend to do is they tend to, you know, draft just based off what the guy can do, but they don't take a look at injury history. They don't take a look at all the additional things. And I don't know if when you were drafted you were thinking like that, but you took some risks. But you also hit the home runs with them. LaShawn McCoy was a risk, but you hit a home run with that, Anthony. Jordan Reed was a risk. Oh, yeah, he had a bad game, but overall, you've hit a home run with that. Jordy Nelson, that was a risk. These are guys that, even DeMarco Murray, you've taken risk, but it's worked out. And I tip my cap to you on that because now I'm going to go to your side of things. Your quarterback is still an issue. It's going to continue to be an issue going down the road. But at the end of the day, LaShawn McCoy, DeMarco Murray, David Johnson will get you double digits every single week. That is a stone cold lead pipe lock. It will always happen. And that's ultimately what happened here. Then you have Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson can't burn anybody anymore. But there's something about when he gets to the red zone, man, he knows how to get open when he's in the red zone. He just knows how to do it. So I give you props on that too, Anthony. And you know what? Doesn't matter how small, how big. I wanted to be up after going into next week because I saw your matchups. I couldn't do it. I wasn't able to do it. So now I have to go ahead. I'm down by 4, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens because it's going to be a grind it out. I know ESPN has it one way, but I'm telling you this right now. I just don't foresee that happening. I think it's going to be a grind it out game.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree.
Now let's go ahead and let's get into next week's games. Same matchups, round 2. Let's start off with McPoon versus the Empire. McPoon up by 9. Anthony, what you got?
You know what? This is the week McPoon closes it out. I think this is the week. And I'll run through the matchups quickly, and I'll give my reasoning why. I think that this is the week that Le'Veon Bell had one of the best fantasy weeks in history.
Yes.
I think Cincinnati's run defense is a bit stronger, better linebackers. But I don't think their secondary is that strong.
They're 20th. They're 20th against the pass quarter.
And if they match up Pac-Man against Antonio Brown, I think it's going to be a field day. I think that works out well for you, and it works out well for Ben. Mm-hmm. San Francisco, that defense it's not as terrible as it was. It's gone from putrid to horrible, so it's still a bad defense.
Yeah, they gave up 29 points the last 2 weeks to running back, so absolutely that's still bad.
Yeah, but it's not like before when we kept seeing them getting carved up week after week after week. Mm-hmm. Like, because even last week when they played the Jets, I understand that Forte got hurt. They're like, well, there's still a terrible run defense, and Bilal Powell's been well, but he didn't really do much. I mean,
Powell balled out. I mean, he had a very good game, but they gave up 29 points total to running backs last week.
But you wanted him to explode.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, like it should have been like 40-point type thing. I know what you're saying.
you like he should have matched Bell because like okay, if we know you guys cannot stop the run, we're just gonna go there. Devonta Freeman's a terrific running back. They're not certain what's going on with Julio Jones. I think that's a great matchup for him. I'm not certain about Kelvin Benjamin and Julian Edelman. I am sure about Travis Kelce. That's 3 straight weeks of double figures. Last week he didn't get a touchdown. He definitely gets to the end zone this week. Carlos Hyde plays against an Atlanta defense that is also terrible against the run. I think that'll work out well too. San Diego just lost. I think they just lost Joey Bosa, who's the key to their pass rush, and their run defense hasn't been great nonetheless. I think Latavius Murray has another good day. The Bills play against that Cleveland offense, and look, I saw what they did last week. It's not going to be much different this week. On the opposite side, Andrew Luck is a terrific quarterback. He's the star setter. He's the franchise for the Empire. There's no doubt about it. But it goes against a very good Minnesota defense with very good corners. And just that defense is good, period. Cannot say much for their offense. Defense, fantastic. I guess he's going to ride with Tim Hightower again, depending on what happens with Theo Riddick. It's not a good matchup. Again, you have Luck and you have Hilton. Again, good corners, great defense. Not going to work out too well. I think Mike Evans does do well against Dallas. I think Jimmy Graham may do well against LA. I think they might have a little bit something to prove. Like we finally got rid of our coach who's been running this like little Ponzi scheme on our franchise for the past 5 years. So maybe they have a little hope, a little faith. And like I said, the most important thing about that LA Rams is that they always play them close. I don't know why Seattle always has trouble with them, but they have a really good defensive line, and the offensive line for Seattle is not great at all. So we have time to get the ball to Graham. We're going to see. I don't think Dez gets -1, but I don't think he gets 15 or 20 either. I think Cooper is a good matchup. He usually doesn't have typical bad back-to-back games like that, but I don't think it's enough. And the Vikings defense, I think, will do well, but I don't see Andrew Luck being forced into a bunch of turnovers. I see them not scoring a lot, but not really turning the ball over. That's really the key to their defense. Just matchup-wise, McCoon Hamlet has a really big advantage in certain matchups. And I think that will bring about the demise of the Empire. Now, they may make a strong comeback, but having your star quarterback and star wide receiver against one of the best defenses in the NFL in a time when you really need them to ball out, I think that means, that's the end. But we're going to see. Now, that's my thoughts on this matchup. You may feel different. Let me know what you think.
I do not feel different. I think it's bye-bye time for the Empire. I think it's time to go night-night. It's time to go night-night for the Empire. They didn't prepare themselves properly for the playoffs. They didn't study properly for the playoffs as far as looking at what their matchups were going to be. They didn't get the running back that they needed. They did a lot of bad things. I mean, Andrew Luck going against Minnesota is not a good matchup. I completely disagree with you. I don't think they're going to get just one turnover. I mean, you said none. I don't think they're going to get just one, not even two. I think 3 turnovers they could potentially get. One of them may even be returned for a touchdown, which benefits Steve in a sense, but it's not going to benefit him enough. So unfortunately, I'm going to say on the other side, those matchups, they're just too juicy. Big Ben against Cincinnati. He's trying to get ahead. Baltimore just lost, so they want to be able to distance themselves from Baltimore in that division. Devonta Freeman coming off a 1-point game, going against San Fran. He is going to light it up. I think he's going to get a 20-plus point game. Kelvin Benjamin against Washington. I'm like iffy on that. I'm not too big, not too low on it. I think Josh Norman is going to be on a mission to do something special. So they better not line up Kelvin Benjamin against him. I don't think Benjamin's going to win that matchup. Judy Edelman against Denver, I do not like that. That's just not good. I don't think they're going to do much New England in that game. I think it's going to be a field goal fest. Travis Kelce against Tennessee. Yes, he's going to explode. Carlos Hyde against Atlanta will do well. Latavius Murray against San Diego will do well. Bills defense will do well against Cleveland, especially if they have RG3 at quarterback, because RG3 is not a good quarterback. He's not. But yeah, on the other side, I disagree. I think Dez Bryant will do okay. I think even Dez Bryant may actually put up double digits this week. But I don't think T.Y. Hilton is going to explode. I don't know what's going to happen with Tim Hightower. Amari Cooper, we just don't know who they're going to throw the ball to week in and week out. So, yeah, I think it's going to be McPoon, and I think McPoon's going to win this handily. So, give me McPoon. Unfortunately, this will be the first time that the Empire have been eliminated. They've been undefeated in the first round of the playoffs, so this will be the first time that they actually lose. So, give me McPoon going to the championship.
All right.
Now we go to our game. You're up by 4, Anthony. You're in a better situation than what you thought you would be going into this week. So, go ahead. Tell us what you predict.
You know what? I think the Power win. I think the Powers might actually win, but I think they only win by a point. I think Fate's just cruel to the Powers. They just are. I think they'll give them a chance to win and to be a high scoring game, but they'll end up losing by like 2 points. It is not enough.
I can see that. I can see that.
Because I think that the Oakland defense is terrible. It's been terrible. I don't think it's getting any better. Like I said, you give them a weekly game plan. I think Philip Rivers does a lot better. I think this is not a week that you start Tom Brady, because even though the Denver defense is strong, it's really their pass defense. And Chris Harris will be back. They still have Aqib Talib, still have TJ Ward. You can run on them, so I'm probably expecting a really heavy game from LeGarrette Blount. Can absolutely see that happening. Now, Jeremy Hill, I think he's going to do well against Pittsburgh. It's an inter-conference rivalry. This is what they do. They play each other hard, and it's cold. They grind the game out, and this is what happens. I think Antonio Brown's going to excel against that secondary, just why I said Ben Roethlisberger going to do great in the other matchup. I think Odell Beckham is starting to turn the corner. Well, that's a lie. It's not really turning the corner. Like, you can pretty much almost count on him that is going to get that one big play game, and it's not like an 80-yard bomb.
He should have 2 or 3 of them a game. He's had the dropsies lately. He's had the dropsies, and I need you to stop that, Odell. Matter of fact, I'm going to go on my rant later. Go ahead, continue. Go ahead.
I feel comfortable with Terrell Pryor. I know he's had a tough couple of weeks, but Buffalo's defense just doesn't impress me, and Robert Kelly has been a problem with me all season. Now, the reason why I believe why it's going to be tight is because I'm not certain with my weakness at quarterback which Winston and stuff is going to show up. He hasn't been solid over the past week. I mean, he only got 8 last week. It's because he didn't get a touchdown, but he didn't get a turnover either. So that's always a plus. With him, you got to take the good with the bad. I think the New Orleans matchup is very good for David Johnson. I would go with Michael Thomas instead of DeAndre Hopkins, but I'm not certain how quickly he'll heal from that injury and how well it'll go. So we're going to go with Hopkins. I think that's a loss there. Jordy Nelson against Chicago is a good matchup, but I also think that, again, it's an interconference matchup between the two. They play well against each other. Chicago, even though they're not really going anywhere any fast, they have a lot of young guys. They're playing with some energy and some effort out there. They're really trying to make this work. We're going to have to go with Eifert. I think it'll be a tough matchup against Pittsburgh, especially against Timmons and the other linebackers for Pittsburgh. Just don't really have faith in Jordan Reed right now. That shoulder injury really bothered him. I know he played well on Thanksgiving, but last week they only put him in on like a 2-point conversion, goal line packages, just stuff that, you can probably get it and fall down, but you really have to worry about that. I think the strength of this matchup comes between LeSean McCoy with Cleveland, DeMarco Murray against KC. KC, again, has a terrific defense. The defensive tackles are hurt, and again, they have a great pass defense and a great pass rush. But similar to Denver,
yep.
You can absolutely run on them. I think that's definitely going to be a possibility. But I think on the opposite side, having Beckham, I think last week was a bit of an aberration. I think playing with Detroit, going to have a good matchup there, and that he may get 2 touchdowns. I think Antonio Brown may get 2 touchdowns. And I think that Robert Kelly probably gets into the end zone again. But I think all of those end up balancing it out, and I think that the game's close and the game kind of sways slightly in your favor, but I don't think it's enough to actually get by and get past me. I know that 4-point lead is not a lot, but it might be just enough to suffice. But I'm picking you because I have faith in your team, and I don't necessarily believe in what ESPN says, because it's a guess, it's a judgment. You don't really know how it's going to happen. You got to let it play itself out in the field. Because last week they said it was going to be tight, and it was tight. They said that the game would be higher scoring, but it wasn't because of certain things that we shifted in our matchups and with injuries and so on and so forth.
Yep.
So am I putting my faith into what they're saying? No, I'm putting the guys out in the field, let the performance kind of go from there. Now, I'm speaking highly of your team, and I think you have a chance to win this week. Not enough to get over the hump, but just to pull out a win. But as you being the president and COO and CEO of the Powers, it's time for you to speak about how you feel this matchup will go this week.
Before I do that, ESPN actually hit it right on the nose. They had a high-scoring game, but they had you winning by 4. That was the spread, and that was exactly what you won by. You won by 4. So I'm going to give them credit for that. With that being said, on your side, I mean, can you ask for a better... Look, your team struggled to score last week, and that concerns you, right? But then you see the matchups that you have this week. If you're going to go out, Anthony, you're going to go out with the best possible matchups given to you. You can't ask for a better situation than this. You got Jameis Winston going up against the number 21st ranked pass defense in the league. Number 21. You got David Johnson going up against the number 26th ranked run defense in the league. I'm going to continue on. You then have, where is he? Okay, DeAndre Hopkins going against, this is actually tough, the number 6th ranked pass defense. But I know that you are planning on playing Michael Thomas, which Michael Thomas goes against number 14th against wide receivers. Oh, but wait, there's more. Jordy Nelson against Chicago Bears, 21st ranked against receivers. Tyler Eifert against the Steelers, 19th against tight ends. Oh, LaShawn McCoy? Oh, yes. LaShawn McCoy going up against, is that Cleveland? The 31st ranked run defense? DeMarco Murray going against the number 14th ranked. Giants defense going up against an injured Matthew Stafford. Broken finger, or what is it, broken finger, whatever it is. I don't know what kind of injury, but it's basically his throwing hand, which is going to affect that. So yes, Anthony, if you are going to explode, you're in prime position to do that. You're in prime position to do that. Regardless what happens, you did your homework. You set your team up so when we got into the playoffs, they were ready to go ahead and lead the way and explode. And that's exactly what you've done. The rest is out your hands. The rest, it comes down to the coaching staff of these teams. That's really what it comes down to. So regardless what happens, you do not hang your head because you did exactly what you needed to do. Now I'm going to go on this other side. And now is, you guys probably haven't heard much of this year, but I'm going to go on my rant. Phillip Rivers, wake the hell up. Stop with the turnovers. Stop forcing the ball and play like the quarterback everybody says you are. Everybody says you're better than Eli Manning. Some actually even say that you're better than Big Ben, even though you don't have the rings because it was the situation that you're in. Well, prove it. Prove it. Go out there. Don't tell me you don't have the targets. You got Hunter Henry, a pretty good tight end. Actually, a very solid tight end. Antonio Gates, a Hall of Fame tight end. Tyrell Williams, a very good wide receiver. You got Inman, Tyra Inman, another guy who's a very good wide receiver. Wake up and play like the quarterback everybody thinks you can be. I need you this week. I'm not putting up with that garbage again. Next up, Jeremy Hill. Jeremy Hill, I saw what you did last week against the Cleveland Browns. And you know what I say to that? So what? It's the Cleveland Browns. Who gives a damn? It's the Cleveland Browns. How about this week you do it against a real NFL team, not against the high school team? Prove it. Prove it. Next up is Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, where the hell have you been this year? Where have you been? I don't know about Anthony. I mean, you could jump in on this. Has Antonio Brown been Antonio Brown this year?
No.
No, he's been good. He's been all right. It isn't going to cut it if we want to make it to this chip. It isn't going to cut it. I need you to step up to the plate and outscore either David Johnson or LaShawn McCoy. So give me 20 this week. Anything less than 20 is unacceptable. And if you give me less than 20, I'll tell you this right now. I'll be listening to offers. I'm not having it. Odell Beckham. One big play isn't enough. Get some damn stick 'em on your hands and catch the football. Because if you make the catch that you're supposed to in the first quarter of the game against the Cowboys, guess what? The Giants aren't in that situation. And it probably opens it up even more for the team. Plus, on top of that, I'm winning my game. But because you want to have the dropsies, now all of a sudden I'm struggling. Congratulations, you made one big play. One huge play. Congratulations, whoop-de-doo. One play isn't going to cut it. I want 20 points this week from you. CJ Fedorowicz. Hey, listen, you get a ton of targets. I love the fact that you get targets. But how about you do something with those targets? Get some catches. Get some yards after the catch. Get me a touchdown. Give me double digits this week. Because if not, I got Ladarius Green right there. He's looking to take that spot.
You can move him up.
Yeah. Terrell Pryor. Yeah. Terrell Pryor, I know right now you're in that lineup. Don't enjoy it too much because I don't see you playing. You've done nothing to earn that spot. You know a guy who's looking to creep in there? A guy by the name of Sammy Watkins. He's hungry. He wants it. And I think he might get that spot. And you know why? Because he's going up against a very porous Cleveland secondary. And I'm telling you this right now, Tyrod Taylor realizes he's playing for his job now. Tyrod Taylor knows if he doesn't get it done when Rex Ryan is fired, he's probably out the door too. So Let's go. Robert Kelly, I have nothing negative to say about you, but here's what I will say. Don't get complacent. You've killed Anthony every time you've played him. Give me another week. Do not get complacent.
You can't be killing me 2 weeks in a row, man. That's bad for myself.
I need it. I need it, Robert Kelly. Do not get complacent. Stay hungry. They call you Fat Rob. Guess what? I'll have a big quart of chocolate ice cream for you if you come through for me this week. Broncos defense, I don't know if I trust you guys. I'm still debating what I'm going to do with you guys. I don't know if I trust you because you couldn't get me double digits against that sorry Tennessee offense. You knew what they were going to do every single play. They were going to run the ball. You knew it, and you still couldn't stop it. Get out my face with that. And Stephen Gostkowski, I want to be angry at you. I want to yell. I want to kick. I want to scream because of the way you've played this year. But this last game wasn't your fault. Tom Brady decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to just score touchdowns. We don't need field goals. Well, Tom Brady, I'm going to speak to you actually on behalf of Stephen Gostkowski. Stop being greedy. Let Gostkowski get some love. He needs some love. Give him a chance to kick some field goals, all right? Give him a chance. Give him some love. With that all being said, the Powers, every week, every game, it seems like it's been so important for them. But every time they've been pushed, they've always pushed back. And Anthony, it's sad that we had to play each other here. Because I'm telling you right now, if it would have went the way it's supposed to, we'd both be winning our games. We'd both be getting set up to play each other in the championship. But unfortunately, this time next week, one of us will be eliminated. I don't think
that's because someone wanted to go to dinner with their significant other and not talk about how they could have just picked me.
Somebody's scared. Somebody may have been a little bit scared of you, Anthony. They're a little bit scared of you.
And somebody who's likely going home next week. I won't say any names, but the initial South Carolina or Super Chunky or Soft Charmin works in this situation. We're not going to say who they are, but just look at the letters and look at the matchups.
That's right.
That should have been the finals matchup, but it's not.
It kills me and it pains me that one of us have to go. I hope it's not me. Gordon, I'm not mad at you. You gave me everything you had. You're trying to come back, actually, and I respect that. It's okay. Sit out this week, bro. Don't force it. Don't force your way back. Take your time. Get better. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at Odell, and I'm mad at Brown because I need them this week. Superstars come up in the biggest games. It don't get any bigger than this, fam. It don't get any bigger than this. I think my superstars step up to the plate. New York Powers win, and they win by 6 points, which then means the Powers win by 2. And Anthony, it's gonna be a game, man. I hate the fact that we have to deal with this. I'm so upset about it. But this is the situation that we're in, my man. I wish you the best of luck. It's gonna be a fun matchup, regardless. If whoever wins this, I think is gonna end up being the champion. So you go out there, Anthony. You got the matchups. Let's see what happens, bro, man.
And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week. We may or may not have a special guest host.
I doubt it. He'll come up with some other excuse.
Yeah, I'm skydiving in Aruba. I can't take the call right now. I'm busy. My stocks are declining because of Trump. I need to organize my bonds. Like, look, brother. If you want to be a part of it, come bring your tail on the show next week. Because you know what? You should be on the show, man, because you might be in the finals. And it's important to talk about your team and your matchup and how well you're going to do.
But if he loses, he's definitely not going to be on the show.
No, if he loses, he got to be here. You can't just take the sucker's way out and all of a sudden, like, I'm not going to talk about what happened. You got to speak about what happened. Understand before it was an illness and a very serious one. You know what? You got to give the guy credit for that. Okay, we can let that slide. But tonight you're cutting out because you want chicken parmesan with noodles? No. You come next week and you discuss. I don't care where you've been. I just want you to talk about your team, what your hopes are, either in the finals or in the trash can. It's definitely up to you. You're the number 1 seed. Come speak to the people.
With that being said, that's our show. Best of luck to everybody. Anthony, my man, one of us is going to be very sad next week. I'm concerned it might be me, but I believe that my superstars have that one game in them. I believe they do.
This better be the week.
Let's go. Stay safe. Be safe. We out.
We out.
Peace.